Steelers send players onto the field in a quest to win a world championship, a complete team must be assembled. It's no secret that Pittsburgh prefers to build through the NFL draft, and their search for future Steelers starts immediately after the previous year's event. That process begins at an annual meeting of NFL scouting minds that the Steelers themselves helped found nearly a half-century ago.
We'll head to Florida in May to discuss the upcoming class with Blesto.
We start evaluating the film right then after the draft on next year's guys.
My uncle had been building a new kind of draft system. That's when the Blesto scouting organization was formed.
Blesto, which stood for Bears, Lions, Eagles, Steelers Talent Organization. And over the years, some of the teams have come and gone, but the Steelers have always been in Blesto. And while we're working on the current class, the Blesto scouts are evaluating the rising seniors. That way we will decide on where we're going to go next year.
We get to training camp at night or in the mornings or in between practices. We're working on our scheduling. All right, flip over to the guidelines. Of course, you got the runners, Brandon the quarterbacks, Chidi and David got the wide receivers, Phil the tight ends.
I'm always interested in how you guys scout. I want to carry that over to our recruiters.
Sure. Of course, the 70s team set the standard, and we just try to, we try to meet that standard and add to the legacy.
Down through the years, we've really had people bought into the philosophy right away. They believe strongly in the draft being our priority.
It's been the core of this organization really from the beginning, and of course in the 70s, they took it to another level. Those guys back then couldn't add people from the outside, so they had to draft well, which of course they most certainly did, including the 1974 class.
The 39th Annual National Football League Selection Meeting is now in session.
Pittsburgh on the first round selects Lynn Swann.
The first 4 picks were Hall of Famers: Lynn Swann, Jack Lambert, John Stallworth, and Mike Webster.
Longtime Steelers scout Bill Nunn played a major role in helping construct the Super Bowl winning teams of the 1970s. He served as a full-time scout for the team for over 45 years.
Bill was actually somebody that went to traditionally black colleges, started bringing players to us who, truth be told, we didn't have players coming from those colleges in the early days. So, the Joe Greens, the Mel Blunts, L.C. Greenwoods, Bill opened up a door that, that we hadn't been through before.
When you have that kind of base to go from, and we know it's worked in the past, certainly we're going to try to emulate that as we go through.
Uh-oh, got one.
Ball. Coach will spend not a lot of time evaluating at that point. Coach as a football man is, he's going to watch college football when he's not involved with our own team, which is, he has very little time, but maybe a Saturday when he's in a hotel the night before our games. But really, we don't catch them up in great detail until our season is over.
I'll talk to Kevin or some of the scouts during the season just to ask if you're watching a game on Saturday afternoon, who's interesting to look at.
We like to look at each player early in the season, middle part of the season, and late.
Roughly, we're going to start off with 1,000 names. Different times of the year, we'll have 9 to 11 guys on the road. They're gone 4 or 5 days a week. I may have 20 schools that I visit. The scouts are probably going to 40. For me personally, it's based on quantity and quality. I want to go to a school where I can best utilize my time by seeing as many good players as I can in one stop.
I try to talk to each scout once a week, and then I'll report what they have to say to Kevin.
And we'll get caught up on where the guys have been, and of course, where we have to go for more looks.
After the season, we start with some of the Senior Bowl, All-Star games.
All-Star games, that's where we first talk to the players.
During the fall, we'll never interact with a player because his sole purpose is to help his college team win games, so we never will interfere with that.
And just trying to get a feel for them as a person.
Then going to the combine is when it really starts to become something that's a big part of everybody's schedule.
The combine is the first time you get to see their measurables, height, weight, speed, explosion, and then at night we have the interviews.
We'll get 60 interviews plus the informal interviews that the assistant coaches and scouts are doing separate from myself and Coach Tomlin.
There are more people involved. There are more ways for us to evaluate a player.
You know, when you get into a combine, when you get into pro days, we're all getting the same information. I think it's how you glean that information and how you use that information that can maybe separate you and give you an edge.
The Steelers also believe there was a lot of value in hosting prospects for pre-draft visits. Each team is allowed to host a maximum of 30 potential draftees, plus an unlimited number of players from its immediate geographical area over a 3-week period leading up to the draft. All of the information collected by Kevin Colbert and the scouts, Mike Tomlin and the coaches, by the medical and training staffs, is then compiled, reviewed, and discussed maybe several times in a group setting as the draft nears.
Kevin and Coach like to hear what everybody says.
The approach we take, it's a comprehensive approach. It's not one man's opinion.
If we feel like somebody's kind of not stepping up to the plate and giving their opinion, sometimes they're called out for that.
The best piece of advice I ever got was don't look for negatives. Keep looking for positives until you know it's not there.
We always want to focus on what they can do rather than what they can't, because if they can do a lot of positive things, then we can coach and improve some of their deficiencies.
NFL draft is officially open.
On draft day, we don't say, hey, take this guy, take that guy. We have everyone rated in the order that how we like them.
By that point, we have a lot of homework that's done. You have to have a plan B and a plan C and be ready to kind of roll with the punches as the draft unfolds.
We always contact the player first to make sure he's healthy.
Mike Tomlin, Pittsburgh Steelers. You healthy?
We're gonna make you a Pittsburgh Steeler.
You ready to become a Pittsburgh Steeler?
And then it gets all exciting and we turn the pick in.
It's an event, and we don't treat it as an event. We still treat it as a very important part of the football process. So it's really just longer, but it's exactly the same as it's been since I've been here.
The 2017 NFL Draft kicks off on Thursday night at 8 p.m. in Philadelphia, and the Steelers will use their 8 draft picks to select the best players available with the hope of continuing a long-standing tradition of building successful teams through the draft.
The Pittsburgh Steelers select